Hello and welcome to View from the Top. I am Modile Sharafai, so thank you for tuning in. First Bank, Access Bank and Guarantee Trust Bank are rated 3 of Nigeria's biggest banks. They've also been adjudged among the top 500 banks in the world. But what else do these 3 banks have in common? The chairmen of their boards are women. 2015 has been quite a year for Nigerian women in banking. It was the year GT Bank appointed Mrs. Osareti Demure as chairman of its board of directors. Access Bank appointed Mrs. Mosun Bello Olusoga as chairman, and Mrs. Ibokun Awoshika was appointed First Bank chairman. This feat will be appreciated against the backdrop of the fact that of all the commercial banks in Nigeria, only 2 have women CEOs. These new appointments are causing quite some excitement among women in Nigeria and women lovers as well. And I'm therefore delighted that Access Bank Chairman Mrs. Mosun Bello Olusoga joins me on View from the Top today. Mrs. Bello Olusoga, I thank you sincerely.
Thank you.
Here's a brief profile of my guest before we settle down to our conversation. Mosun Bello Olusoga was born on September 13, 1957. She graduated from the University of Ibadan with a second-class upper in economics in 1979 and became a chartered accountant in 1983, finishing as the best qualifying accountant in her set and also winning the Society of Women Accountants of Nigeria Award. She's an alumna of the Harvard Business School, Kellogg School of Management, Columbia Business School all in the United States, and IMD in Switzerland, INSEAD in France. Mrs. Bello Olusoga's career started with then Coopers & Lybrand in 1980, from where she moved to Continental Merchant Bank in 1986. In 1990, she joined the pioneer team to set up Guarantee Trust Bank and worked there as head of several departments. She retired from GT Bank as executive director in 2006. Mrs. Bello Olusoga sits as a non-executive director on several boards, including Premium Pensions Limited, and she has served as the chairman of ELAN, non-executive director of Asset and Resources Management, and acting managing director of Trust Bank for Africa, among others. She is the principal consultant of the KRC Limited, a boutique trading company serving the financial services industry in Africa. Mrs. Bello Olusoga became chairman of Access Bank in July 2015. She's a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants and an honorary fellow of the Chartered Institute of Bankers. You know, all of a sudden we have 3 bank chairmen, 3 women bank chairmen in 1 year. Is it baby steps or giant strides? But maybe before you even answer that question, let me ask you, which is the politically correct term? Is it chairman or chairperson?
You know, I don't want to make it sexist and say chairperson. You're a chairman, you're a chairman. Do you say manageress? I just believe your chairman is a chairman. Personal opinion. Okay, no. So some people say chairperson, but I mean, if you're a man, are you a chairperson? So why is it when you're a woman, you're not a chairperson? So I don't know. People say chairperson, chairman. I prefer chairman.
Is it baby steps or giant steps?
Giant, huge, enormous steps. Because never in the history of Nigeria have we had 3 women chairmen of very, very strong banks at the same time. Never. Never. So I believe is a giant stride, and it has shown how far women have come.
In 2013, the then Central Bank Governor Lamido Sanusi outlined a campaign by the bank to increase the representation of women at executive levels in Nigerian banks. He wanted for there to be about 30% of board positions by 2014 and 40% of senior management roles. How far down the road have we come?
I can talk about Access because that's my forte, that's my area. When I joined the board of Access in 2008, I was the only female chairman, I beg your pardon, the only female director. And now we have 5. So Access has really, really come a way. We see ourselves in the forefront of inclusive banking, sustainable banking, so we have to be role models. So from 1 in 2008 to 5 in 2015, that's huge. And for you to have the first female chairman, we've made quite impressive steps, if I may say so myself.
How exactly has banking changed since you first entered the industry?
When I got into banking, I was a chartered accountant, an auditor with Coopers and Librand. So your work was very regimented. You went to clients' offices to do your audit. So it was an 8 to 5 job. When I actually joined Continental Merchant Bank, it was a merchant bank. So latest by 6, we'd closed. But by the time you had these new banks coming in, competition became a lot fiercer, and you had to like snatch customers from existing banks. So with the competition, you had to work extra hours. You had to be a lot more aggressive in ensuring that you got customers. So banking is a lot more it's a lot harder these days, right? The terrain is forever changing, policies are forever changing, right? So you have to continuously be on your toe. And if you relax a little bit, there are so many other banks that are ready to take your place. So you have to be always on your toes. So banking these days is a lot more competitive.
You know, despite the achievements of women like yourselves in banking and at the highest levels, the banking sector is still not seen as a very easy one for a woman to work in. Do you agree?
Yes. See, nothing good comes easy. That's my take, right? I tell young people that banking is not for everybody. And that's the honest truth. No profession is for everybody. I could say the same of you journalists. You're in the war zone, you're covering floods. So if you want to achieve, it depends on what you want to do. If you have passion for the job, yes, there's some jobs. If you're a doctor, for example, 24 hours call service, it comes with the territory, it comes with a job. So you have to determine, this is what I want to do. If that's what you want to do, you give it your best.